Hi there, in this video I'm gonna be comparing the main AI tools, okay, for Godot development. I'm talking about ChatGPT, Claude, and DeepSeek. Which one is gonna be the best one? That's what we're gonna be checking in this video. So this is the current setup I'm gonna be using for all AIs. So this is a player scene with a character body 2D, sprite, and a collision. As you can see, no scripts. A main scene with basically a player instance and also two coin instances, okay, which is basically an area 2D, a sprite, and a collision. Pretty simple. So let's start with ChatGPT. As you can see, I'm using the free version of ChatGPT. I'm also gonna be using the free version of Claude and DeepSeek. And let's first of all start with ChatGPT. By the way, this video is not sponsored by any of these platforms. So create an 808 movement for a 2D game, Godot 4. Pretty simple. Let's press enter and let's see how much time it takes. As you can see, it really took nothing. What you have to know is that also when you are paying for it, you have like more models to use all that. But I'm just using the default settings and all that. So what I'm gonna do is, first of all, copy the code. Literally do this. You shouldn't be doing this all the time, by the way, but just for the sake of comparing this, and I'm just gonna be attaching a new script over here. Let me create it over here in a new scripts folder, and I'm gonna just paste it over here. So I won't say anything about this. Let me just run this project and I'm gonna see if this is working or not. And as you can see, it is working perfectly. There is no diagonal movement faster than linear movement as far as I can tell, I think there is. Let's see if there is some kind of normalization. Yes, there is normalization, so this should be working fine. Now, the code does work. It's good. Okay, you've seen physics process. That's good. Maybe this check here is not really needed. Maybe not vital. I would skip this personally, but I don't think there's nothing wrong. What is actually maybe not wrong but could be better, and also this is something super simple, is how it calculates input vector x and y. This could be done literally all here in just one line of code by using input.getVector. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is to try to ask ChatGPT to make the code a little bit more efficient. So maybe something like this. Once again, a little bit generic, not too specific. I want to see if it's able to. Okay, it's better, but it's using getAxis. But it isn't still the most convenient out of everything, which would be getVector, okay? Yes, here it is, okay? As you can see, this is the perfect one. Okay, this is literally the code that all AIs should be giving us at the first try. As you can see, way shorter, way cleaner, okay? And as you can see, this is gonna be working in the exact same way, okay? So yes, ChatGPT has been able to do it. But well, once again, maybe you say, oh, but I don't care if the logic is good or bad. This then has a huge impact when you ask ChatGPT to create more complex things or other things. Maybe it gives you like a code of 50 lines long when it could have been 30 lines, okay? So once again, it's all about efficiency. Now, let me actually use the exact same prompt here, but now for Claude. So I'm gonna give it here. And what I will also say is that I'm using a character body 2D, okay, because you can also move an area 2D, which is a little bit different. So I'm gonna use this. Once again, here you have different models, but once again, I'm just gonna use the default one, completely part of the free plan. So let's send this and let's see how much time it actually takes. I will try to avoid cutting the video. I will cut it if it takes too long, but as you can see, it seems that I'm gonna do it just fine. Okay, pretty interesting. And okay, here it is, pretty interesting. It's not that bad. We can still copy it over here. I also like here how the interface is like this. This is the same thing as canvases in Godot. I don't remember if this is part of a free plan. Yes, you can still edit this in Canvas, so you can still see it over here, and you can actually tell ChatGPT edit it in Canvas, and it should be able to give it to you in Canvas. Okay, here it is. So this is the exact same thing, but here Claude does have highlights. At least in this version of ChatGPT, there are no highlights. And I can also tell you I'm part of the Plus plan of ChatGPT, $20 a month, and it is not highlighted, okay? But this one is. But once it's super long, this has like maybe 20, 30, 25 lines, something like that. It shouldn't be 30. Oh, 33. Okay, yes, this is pretty long of it's a lot of code. We're having a lot of problems here, but this is because of these input actions, okay, I'm not gonna use in these, I'm just gonna use in the UI ones. Probably, actually, Claude should have told us to create these input actions. Yes, input map setup, so I didn't do it, so it wasn't my fault. Sorry, it was my fault. And it's working. It has created a different type of control. I believe you can see it. It's kind of sliding. So pretty weird because I didn't tell it to do it like this. I just told it to create a generic movement. So not so good, and even it has spent a lot of lines on this. Because yes, it's subtracting and adding, so there is a lot of deacceleration and acceleration. So this is the prompt that I'm gonna be using. Something that I do want to contrast here is that Claude has used this kind of canvas mode by default, so I didn't have to tell ChatGPT to do it. So pretty interesting that by default it has detected that this would be the best thing. So just for you to know that. By the way, here in ChatGPT you have some options that you can use, such as add comments, add logs, fix any errors, port to a language, code review, and I'm not seeing these things in Claude. Maybe there are, or there are in the paid versions, but ChatGPT free, at least right now, does offer you these options. I believe that we can actually use them. I know, add comments, and you will see how this works. So yes, there it is. So pretty interesting. And now for this, let's once again provide this prompt. Give it a second. So you can see it does take, well, no, I was also gonna say that it does take some more time than ChatGPT, but it's pretty similar. Once again, I believe this is gonna work from what I can see here, but we have to remember to replace here move with UI. Just like this, and let me play this. And now, yeah, this is perfect, okay? Like how this works, it's completely fine. But once again, it's not good logic, okay? We are having a lot of lines when we should only have a few of them. So I will now send this prompt just to keep the same thing, but way shorter. Let's see if it's able to do it. Okay, so yes, kind of short. Well, it's definitely shorter, but here there is a super weird expression: if input vector else vector 0. So this is correct. Yeah, I believe this is correct. The only thing that is kind of not correct here, well, not so good, is that it's doing if else in the same line. It should be in different lines because it's super complicated to actually understand or read it. So once again, that's not a good practice, but it does work. So it got shorter, but once again it's using get access here, and this if else super weird here, which shouldn't be there. So let's actually tell it to kind of correct it. So once again, super generic question, even shorter, more convenient way. I'm trying not to give out the answer, and here it is. So as you can see, both of them took something like 1-2 attempts to do it, but they were able to do it, so that's cool. It's a little bit different to what we had in ChatGPT. So let's actually start to write these things. Well, not to write these things, but this was the last answer from DeepSeek. Sorry, from Claude. Once again, this should be working just fine, but it's a... oh, we're getting... oh, but this is because of this. Once again. There it is. Okay, yeah. Perfect. Okay, so this is it for movement. Okay. And then let's go to DeepSeek. So let's copy this prompt. Okay, and let's see what we end up having. Once again, I will try not to cut the recording just for us to see how much time this takes. Okay, here it is, pretty fast. Okay, so I will just give it a second over there. And here, pretty interestingly, it has used getVector from the very beginning. So pretty interesting. It's even added optional stuff such as rotate the sprite to face movement direction. It has applied the movement here with a linear interpolation, so this should have some, yes, here, acceleration. Okay, once again, we didn't ask it to give us some acceleration, but anyway, there it is. Alternative version with diagonal speed normalization. So pretty interesting the fact that it's actually suggesting us even more stuff than what we asked it to. I don't personally like it. I like more to, okay, I want this, give me this, don't give me any more. But once again, well, this is how this model operates, at least right now. So let me just try this one, but I believe that this one does not have normalization. Yes, because it's normalized here on vector, on get vector automatically. So this should be working just fine, I believe. Yeah, just that it has this thing of the sprite that we didn't ask it to, but it's working just fine. And the logic, at least for me, seems literally perfect at the first attempt. So that's pretty interesting, okay? Pretty interesting. At the first attempt, perfect. So this was the first exercise, so you can come up to your own conclusions. Now I'm gonna move a little bit faster, okay? What I want to do is, okay, we have movement. Now what I want to do is to be able to collect these coins. So this is the prompt that I'm gonna be using. So let's send it to ChatGPT and give it a second. So once again, let's go ahead, copy this code, ChatGPT, sorry, Godot, and paste it over here. So yes, the logic, I would say, is mostly perfect. Now the bad thing here, it didn't tell me to connect any signal or to add it to a group. So I have to suppose that, or actually here, this function will be called when the player overlaps with another body. Make sure the player now has an area 2D or collision shapes set to detect area 2D bodies. Yes, but it didn't tell me to connect to the signal and it's not done already. So I have to know it, okay? And in reality here it's using onBody enter when our character body 2D does not have onBody entered. So actually in order to use this, we have to add an area 2D, add a new collision, okay? And here connect onBody entered. And here connect it over here. Actually it has connected body enter, which is not correct. Because body enter is called when the received body enters this area, and this body is a physics body, so this is not an area. So we should be using area enter. So this is not correct. Once again, I'm not gonna iterate on the answer. I'm just gonna use the first one. So what we have to know is that in this case, this solution is not correct. So this is -1 point for ChatGPT. Let's use the same thing, but for Claude. Or oh, sorry, I didn't want to use that. And actually, before moving to Claude, what I want to see is how it handled this thing. Because what would be the worst thing would be to do from the player get parent, okay, and do whatever or something like that, like super weird approach of using get parent and all that. Here in this case, it didn't use get parent, it already used groups here, and it's actually collecting the coins on the same object, which is not bad. It's a good approach. But what I actually want to do is okay, no, it's good. Like I wanted to make the exercise a little more complicated, but anyway, let's see what Claude comes up with. So let me paste this and let's give it a second. Once again, pretty fast answers. Okay, so in this case, it has actually generated 2 different scripts. I really like the UI here with, and even with the 2 separated scripts. So this is pretty interesting. You actually get here the different versions. Okay, you also get this, by the way, on ChatGPT. You can go to previous versions and restore to this version or come back to the latest one. So here you have this is for the player. So let's just copy this code, paste it over here. Then we've got the coin script. So let's paste it over here. There it is. So it's doing everything. I believe this should be just fine. If body has method. This has method. I don't think this exists actually in Godot. I've never used it and I think it will return an error. I don't know why AIs have this. Maybe this was something that existed in Godot 3, but this doesn't exist anymore in Godot 4, but we'll check it. But the logic itself is pretty clean. This is the approach that I would have taken. I wouldn't have done it in the player because, as mentioned, we would have to add a new area because character bodies to this don't have a way of detecting collisions. Or well, they do have with move and collide, but it's a little bit more complicated. So in this case, it's the best thing is to do it on the coin, as Claude did. And yes, I believe it should be working just fine, but let's just make sure we have problems, errors because of these input actions, but let's super quickly fix them. Okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and collect these coins. There we go, coins collected, 1. Amazing. So let's collect the other ones, 2, 3, and 4. So amazing job done. Literally amazing job. And now let's do it with DeepSeek, okay? So let's submit this. I don't know if DeepSeek here has some kind of way of doing it like this, like in a canvas or something like that. Maybe it has, but it's not pretty intuitive here to find that option. I don't really find it over here. Maybe it's for paid users. I don't really know. But here it is. So once again, maybe the answers here are a little bit too complete or like too developed. I like more like just give me the code and that, okay, then I will understand it on my own, or I will tell you, okay, do this or do that, or explain me this or explain me that. But anyway, this is player script. I will copy here this for the player. Yes, but actually here it has deleted our previous movement logic. So this is not good. Alternative approach using signal. So this is pretty good. This is another way. This is pretty good. UI to display. I don't like these things that are added optionally. Like they just confuse sometimes if you are not asking for them. But yes, what I will tell is that I want to keep my previous movement code. So something like that. Let's give it a second. Yes, here these answers maybe. Oh, it crashed. Oh no, it didn't crash. Okay, my bad. Yeah, but here's using the acceleration one. I don't know. Let's just use this code. But yes, it's perfect as before, or like pretty good. So here we've got it. So let's use this player script over here. So it's pretty similar. It seems approach. Okay, is here this collect coins. So probably here from the coin script. What? So what it's doing? Oh, it's adding a twin here. Okay, that's good. But well, once again, things that I didn't ask it to do, so I don't like that. I like to have more control over what it's doing. So at the end, yes, it has method existed. Okay, I don't think it's pretty useful. It shouldn't be there. But anyway, there it is. And here we have the instructions actually added to a player group. So we have to make sure this is inside of this group. So player in the node panel, so it's pretty clear how to do it also. Area node, set collision. Okay, I believe it should all be done. It should, I believe. There it is, and it has even added a twin. Pretty interesting, because I wasn't thinking that it was gonna be able to do it. Okay. So once again, what can I tell you here? First of all, ChatGPT for Godot itself is not good. Once again, I believe that mostly all models, okay, of Godot, of ChatGPT, have been trained in Godot 3, or they don't have that much data set, okay? That's why the answers they give you sometimes are not the best ones. And even I am logged in, so this should be using ChatGPT 5, so the latest one, and even the ChatGPT 5 does not have this. It's not bad, okay, but it's not perfect, okay? It's way better for maybe other programming languages. For example, I personally use ChatGPT a lot for Unity, C#, and there it worked flawlessly. So I think it's not a matter that the model is bad itself, but it's not well trained on Godot 4. So this is just a matter of waiting. Maybe in a few weeks, in a few months, it's trained on Godot 4 dataset, and when that happens, it could be way better than the other alternative. But right now, I believe it's the worst one. If specifically what you want is Godot development, okay? Then on the other hand, Claude, I feel it was pretty good. I really like the UI here, this canvas all here. It's pretty similar in that manner to ChatGPT. Now what I didn't like is that once again, it's pretty complicated to come to a conclusion by just these few text prompts. Once again, as ChatGPT, in some cases, it was not explaining too much, but writing too much code for something that was way simpler, in which there was a way simpler solution, a way simpler method. So here, remember that it was adding, for example, acceleration. It was adding like a lot of lines, and it could have made better, even shorter. So we had to iterate on the code a little bit more, but it was still able to do it. So at least on the first try, Claude and ChatGPT were, let's say, similar. But when it came to the second exercise, it was perfect in the first try. And this wasn't, let's say, it was an easy exercise, okay, don't get me bad, but it was a little bit more complex. Maybe something more intermediate or something like that, like calling a function from another place. So it wasn't, let's say, that easy, okay? So pretty interesting. But once again, maybe not perfect. Which I think that by far got the best results was Claude. DeepSeek. Now, what I don't like about DeepSeek is that, first of all, I don't find here a button to open this in a canvas. I don't like the fact that it suggests me optional stuff and adds optional stuff. Personally, me, myself, Marco Paoletta, I don't like that. If I ask you to do X, do X. Do not also do Y and Z if I don't ask you to do that. I just want exactly what I asked you. But anyway, pretty clear. The code was literally perfect or mostly perfect, okay? So yeah, I think it's a matter of trying them out, you know? Once again, I would really be interested in ChatGPT being updated and actually being trained on Godot 4, because you don't know how well it works for languages that it has a lot of information on. In Unity C Sharp, in Unity and C Sharp, sorry, it works flawlessly. So I would really be curious about that, because it could work like DeepSeek or even better. So which is the best option? It really depends on a lot of things. You have the plans, okay? So ChatGPT Plus is $20 a month, Pro is $1,200. I would say that most of you would aim for the Plus version, $20 a month. Claude, where is this? Over here, upgrade plan. Claude, okay, also has two models. It has Pro, a little bit cheaper, 17. What I don't like about ChatGPT is that it doesn't have a yearly plan. So you have $20 a month and you always have to pay it every month. You don't have a discount to pay it 1 year, for example. But here you do have the version. If you want to pay it monthly, it's the same thing, but yearly it's 17. So we are saving 17%. And you also have a max version of $100, not $200 as ChatGPT, with like even higher limits, more stuff, etc. And then DeepSeek, okay. And right now, pretty interesting, this DeepSeek, at least right now, the moment of recording this video, is completely free, okay? There could be a paid plan in the future, but right now there isn't. So if I were you right now, this one got the best results, literally completely free, okay? So pretty interesting, because once again, here in ChatGPT, you have a lot of limits. If we were chatting with it a little bit more, we would have a pop-up here telling us, you have reached your daily limit of ChatGPT 5. We are switching to an older model. When that happens, trust me, it works even worse. I don't really know how this works in Claude, but it's probably the exact same thing. Like you have limited access to the actual best model right now, which is Claude Sonnet 4, and then you are switched back to an older model or a worse model. That's probably, maybe, I don't really have that information right now. Because I don't really think it's worth it, okay? Like DeepSeek for this case is the best option by far, and even if then it becomes paid, okay, depending on how much they want to charge you, it will even be the best option. So that's what I think. That's from this exercise. Once again, don't take this as that this is written in stone. This was just 1-2 exercises, super quick, super beginner friendly, but well, I think that they do give us an interesting look on which is a good option for you. There could be even more options. We even have Gemini and more, okay, that come to my mind. But well, these are the ones that I've heard the most of. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one.